to preach the gospel when you're a little congregation in Rome. The congregation is the boat, and it's not wrong to be on the boat. There's that other passage where Jesus calmed the storm with them on the boat. I think I actually did a sermon there at MIELIELANDE on that. And the boat's not wrong. It's not wrong to have a safe space, but don't be surprised if God calls you into an uncomfortable space where you're not used to be. That's maybe even a little bit hostile. And in the early church it was like that if you would become a follower of Jesus, when I lived in India I met people like that. If you would be a Jew or a Roman and you would say, I surrender my life to Jesus, that your family would reject you. They would say, you are not my son anymore. You are not my daughter anymore. You are not my sister anymore. And then the Christian congregation became their family. That's such a core thing of how the early church grew. And so it was really hostile. For those people, when they heard it, they didn't think, ja, hulle gaan my dalk 'n bietjie beledig by die werk, of jy weet, as ek nou as hulle gaan my dalk hulle gaan sê ek dweep, of jy weet, hulle gaan dink ek is 'n bietjie weerstand kry. It was really dangerous. It was like jumping into the middle of the sea of a boat. That's how dangerous it was to follow Jesus. And for many Christians today, it's like that. In northern India and Pakistan and some other places, it's still like that. So, Shane Claiborne, I read that book, the Irresistible Revolution, which I wish everybody would read. And he said he thought he's going to have less trouble if he follows Jesus. But he had more trouble. He says his trouble have grown exponentially since he decided to follow Jesus. Because he and his friends, they stayed there also in like an echo community. Everybody lives together, or in a church kind of sharing community like we do. And they live in a town where there's a lot of homeless people, and the police really harassed some of these homeless people. There's a lot of wrong things, and then a bunch of them went to go sleep with these people in the park, and let the police arrest them with the homeless, but they had legal aid, so they fought the thing and they won the court case against that. There was a Catholic church that a lot of homeless people were sleeping, and then they wanted to close it down, and they went and they fixed this thing, and now they're standing up. So they've been a few times in jail in America for standing up, ten minste voorafwagting tot hulle die saak gewen. But to say, but even today, if you really follow Jesus, sometimes you will stand up for the right thing in such a way. You will so much be against the stream. When they caught this one fish, Rocky yesterday night, I heard him cry out, "Ek het hom! Ek het hom!" Hoe took the fout? Stefan, ek wil dit nog sien. Is dit 'n karp? Wat die hele van? So, and when I heard that, I was sleeping there, and I just, ek het net op my liggie gelig. I thought, yeah, and you know what? There's a saying, even a dead fish can swim stream down. If you catch it, you feel it, how much they can swim stream up, a live fish. But Jesus challenged his disciples to go against the current of materialism, against the current of Jewish nationalism, where everything is about preserving our little group of people, doing everything just to help ourselves, or the Roman nationalism, where everything is just about ourselves and our little group, or my family, my tribe, or whatever. He challenged them with everything he did. Dink aan die verhaal van die Samaritaanse vrou, die Romeinse soldaat, wat hy sê, nou is grote geloof is by die man nie. It was really disturbing for those guys. He challenges us to go with a revolution of love against the current of selfishness. And it's a big deal. But you can only go against the current if you're out of the boat. Okay? And you have to do that. We've said it often, that the comfort zone is that safe, beautiful, comfortable space where nothing grows. It's good news. It's part of the good news of the gospel. Is that that God will send you into places where your spirit will grow again. You will become more free. Imagine how free you are if you can get out of the boat. Okay? So the people who was the least free in the Bible times was the Pharisees, Sadducees, scribes, according to the Gospels. They just wanted to build a bigger boat, bigger fences, you know. We have this saying, if you have more than you need, don't make your fences higher, make your table longer. We're going to do it today when we eat together. But they just wanted to build better, bigger boats. And God's always calling us outside of the boat and saying, I challenge you to trust me. Go there where only trust, only belief can take you there. We've had so many times, you know, I've been on church councils and then they would budget for the year. And then I think, how weird is that? Because ECHO has never budget. Caroline. Ons het nog nooit a budget gehad en dan gesê, okay, we can do this year, we can do this and this and this. Every house we've started, we started without the money. Even this thing we're trying to do on the farm. It was always, let's do it, man, and then we get the money. It's always worked that way around. You trust, they say money follows mission. And we have a testimony after 23 years that God's really in there. And it doesn't mean that sometimes, like we're now in a stage where we say, let's go deeper before we go wider. Because, I mean, there's now a lot of ECHO houses. But we've seen that you can really, if you try to do God's will, you can really trust Him. And this is the thing I want to end with, is even if you fail, that is not the end. Let me end with this story and then I'll tell you that last part. There's a story of a guy that, you know, was an acrobat, one of these crazy people that would walk on the ropes. Have you seen those movies where the guy walks on a rope? Sometimes with this long stick, sometimes just like this. They can actually rope walk without anything. And it put it, I think it was a Grand Canyon, across, you know, from one cliff to the other, and it's way down, and everybody was there. Can you imagine? The media was there. CNN was there. Everybody wanted to see this. They couldn't believe what this guy does. You know, this guy was so good. He couldn't only walk. He walked there and he walked back. Maybe the distance from here to the other side. He couldn't only walk on the road there and back. He had a wheelbarrow. And he could walk with the wheelbarrow. He pushed the wheelbarrow on the road. Can you imagine that? But then he came back, and the story goes like this. He came back, everybody cheered. And he said, do you believe I can do it again with this wheelbarrow? And everybody said yes, because they've seen it now. They saw him walk across, they saw him come back, they saw him with a wheelbarrow, now they believed. He said, do you believe me that I can do this with a wheelbarrow? Everybody said yes. And he said, sir, you that's cheering like that, get in, let's do it. And the guy was a bit out of his depth. Now that's what Jesus did. He showed him what he can do. And then he said, okay, you Peter that's cheering, let's do it. And that's the challenge. But the most beautiful part of this story for me, and that's what the song is about, if you listen to the words now again, is that we often fail. God doesn't use us because of our faith, but often in spite of it. It's a big part of Peter's story in the Bible. That he fails and he sinks, you know, and Jesus grabbed him. And maybe that was his biggest faith, is to do it because he knew Jesus will grab me. I'm going to try it, Jesus. But it's so nice to know that if I fail, you'll grab me. And he always grabs us. And that's something that's supposed to make us not sit back and do less because he holds us, but it's supposed to be our biggest motivation to try more, to try again, to go again. Maybe there's something you've tried for God, you failed, didn't work. Mense sal altyd sê, ja, ek het ook altyd vir daai boemelaar kos gegee, toe gooi dit in die asblik eendag sien ek. Well, I tried to help this druggie and you know, he just fell back. Well, maybe God wants to tell you this morning, try again. I work with failures. You know, Peter was the one with Pentecost. It's one of these days, it's begin Pinksterweek. Pinkstertyd. Peter was the one that preached. when the thousands of people came to Jesus. He was one of the greatest apostles. But he failed, and he failed often. That's part of his story. But he was grabbed often by the grace of God. And it became his motivation to try harder to do more. Not his excuse to sit back and to just live for himself in the boat. So that's the story. Let me play you that song again. It's gonna be our first prayer, and then I'll pray as a second prayer. Ach, druk jy daai knop hier op die speakers. Waarom is hy maar agter? Sorry man. Nee, wacht nie van die kant af. Ek kan dit. Ek het net 'n bietjie druk. Saggies net. Ek het net te lank gepreek net afgesit. Hy het so plat puntjie, plat streepies soos 'n minus wat jy net moet druk. Bo. Ja, hou net in. Die baie nee. Ja, die boer bly. Thanks. Selfs hier so is dat jy gee.
Sit jy net op die tafel?
Asse. Jy's reg, hoor. Ja. Okay, just listen to these words again. See if you can hear imagine Peter singing it, but also maybe imagine you singing it for your crisis or the challenge in your life.
So